Dear friends, I bid you welcome. I hope the night was not too short. Your Eminence, Duchess, Monsieur de Richet, allow me to introduce our new guests. They arrived during the night. Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs and close aide of Frederick William II, King of Prussia. Napoleon Bonaparte, Lieutenant of the French Revolutionary Army. And Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. Unfortunately, my friends, Lord Mortimer will not be joining us this morning, but he should be with us later. So, let us begin.
What is Mortimer playing at? He tells me to come urgently and he sends no one to meet me?
Thank you again for the wine, Your Eminence. It is served every day at the king's table.
I am delighted to hear it.
Volner and Piaggi seem to be getting along well.
My dear Johann, how are you?
Glad to make landfall at last. And yourself?
Very well.
And your husband?
He's poorly. The French Revolution gives him terrible headaches.
Oh, I understand. I shall feel better too, as soon as the situation is settled.
If by chance the French crisis is emulated in Berlin, there will always be a refuge for you in London, my dear.
Your offer does you honor, Emily. But London is much closer to Paris than Berlin. Beware. The French are capable of sailing up the Thames straight to the Houses of Parliament.
Oh, my friend, I am shaking in my clogs.
Yes, that's it.
Is the wine to your liking?
Very much so, Sir Gregory. Such complexity. Typically French. A Sauterne, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If I'm not mistaken, this is not Lord Mortimer's favourite wine. It is yours.
In his absence, I have taken the liberty of making a slight deviation from the rule, but I count on your discretion.
Don't worry, I appreciate the same grape varieties as you. I remember the last time we tasted that nectar here at this table. The finest minds of the century were present.
And the last time we drank it, the orphanage in Bloomsbury was still in ruins.
Would you repeat that?
Oh, well, I put some small effort into the works. The orphanage reopened just before Christmas. The bedrooms, washrooms, and the classrooms had all been refurbished.
I don't know what to say. You have given the girls a wonderful Christmas gift. Thank you.
I made a promise. Now it is done.
It's the first time I've ever seen her so moved. Just mentioning that orphanage broke right through Emily's hard shell.
Show us your teeth.
Is everything all right?
Yes, thank you. I had a moment of absence, but here I am again.
My lord, I only know the prestige of your name. Might I have the honor of getting to know you a little better?
You are Monsieur...
Louis Moras de Richet.
de Richet. De Richet. A name with a nobiliary particle. Are you descended from a noble line?
The presence of a particle does not necessarily mean a person belongs to the nobility, nor does it prevent the observance of the rules of etiquette, Monsieur von Wollner.
And right he was, too.
Have you any information on this Napoleon?
He's certainly well connected in high places.
Surprising. No one appears to know him.
No one knows me, and yet here I am.
Quite so.
Of course.
Monsieur de Richet? It would seem we have common interests. Could we speak in private, please?
Not really, no.
It is remarkable.
Lord Mortimer and the Golden Order, through your mother, have concluded a financial agreement.
Stay composed, Louis. I'm listening.
an agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother. You must know that I am deeply sorry about our disappearance, but I must validate the deal urgently if I want to be able to organize things properly.
I haven't seen Lord Mortimer yet. I'm afraid I'll be unable to answer your questions.
He assured me that you could replace your mother during her absence.
I appreciate his confidence, but still, this is a bit hasty. But please continue.
Of course, but I need to know if I can count you among my allies.
Well, of course.
And for that, I have a little question for you. The agreement stipulates an aid of 50,000 louis d'or for 200 cannon.
I don't know. Maybe you ought to speak to my mother.
Oh, what a pity. I was hoping you would be up to the challenge. Too bad. I have one last question I would like to pose to you. We don't know each other yet, you and I. And I need to make sure that we both share the same vision for the future of France. Given the hard times that have befallen our beautiful country, what do you think it would take to restore its luster?
I think what France is lacking today is a truly strong leader ready to govern her. Someone who will restore her luster, who will propel her forward so once again she becomes a proud nation respected by all. A man capable of both rebuilding the country from the inside and, at the same time, developing exterior relations. Someone with a vision, I think. The right person still remains to be found.
You're right, my friend. I hear your words and I agree. Monsieur de Richet, I am reassured. I am very happy to have met you. Lord Mortimer was right to put his trust in you. I hope to work with you in the very near future. I would like to thank you for your support by offering you this humble little gift.
Reflections on the Revolution in France. Monsieur Bonaparte, I thank you for this gesture, and please know that I, too, am delighted to have met you.
My friends, I would like to say a few words, please. I would like to thank Lord Mortimer, and you, Sir Holm, for bringing us all together here. Those of us for whom it is not the first time here, like me, are all trembling in sweet anticipation of the arrival of our host. For the rest, I would like to reassure you that Lord Mortimer always has a few surprising projects to propose. But I can assure you that each and every one of us has always benefited from them. The last time I came to this place, Lord Mortimer offered to help me in my electoral campaign for the presidency of the United States. And it is eminently clear that his support was an invaluable aid to us. We are here among like-minded people. So let us put aside the conflicts in which some of our nations find themselves at present. So I raise my glass in honor of you all, my new and old friends.
I trust you shall not be disappointed, Mr. Washington. Right, we shall meet again tomorrow. All the guests will be present, as well as Lord Mortimer, I hope. Until then, I trust you will find plenty to keep you amused.
Alright, let's recap. Before dinner, I was going to investigate my mother's message. I've got to find the place where all eyes size you up. The lock is surrounded by a triple circle. Dining on ham. Well, that's very appetizing. Where all eyes size you up. Chances are, that's the room my mother spoke of. And she also spoke of a Medusa. Should I go and try to find the creature now? Celia. That name means nothing to me. Song of Roland. Roland feeleth his death is near, his brain is oozing by either ear. With his brain oozing, it's already remarkable that he can feel anything. A meeting between Louis XIV and Philippe V. I wonder why Mortimer's particularly fond of this painting. The Company by Rembrandt. Fall of Phaeton, another painting by Rubens. Poor Phaeton, struck by lightning for borrowing his father's chariot and losing control of it. Moral, don't steal Dad's chariot. The Song of Roland. Ah, François Ier, Receiving the Holy Family, a painting by Raphael. Christ Crucified by Velázquez. Look, someone's left a note there. Reserved for the Duke of Alcudia. A painting with no name. I've got to find out what Mother was trying to do with her. The Medusa. A hero armed with a sword? A hero with a lantern? And the last one holding a shield. I'll stake my life on it. All the statues form a single scene together. The poor devils are about to face the beast. Let's give them a helping hand. The Origin of Myths, a reinterpretation of legendary creatures. Just what I need. The text is in French on the left-hand page and in Latin on the right hand. Let's find the chapter on the Medusa. Hang on. This version is significantly different from the regular one. It recounts how men have always belittled women in society. Harpies, mermaids, the chimera, the hydra, the gorgons. Ah, the section on the Medusa. While some of the heroes divert attention from the gorgon, the hero with the sword brandishes his weapon at the Medusa. Hang on. This version is significantly different from the regular one. It recounts how men have always belittled women in society. Harpies, mermaids, the chimera, the hydra, the gorgons. Ah, the section on the Medusa. While some of the heroes divert attention from the gorgon, the hero with the sword brandishes his weapon at the Medusa.
A painting with no name. Ah, a painting by Ingres. Molière dining with Louis XIV. The king's posture is surprising. It's almost as if he's addressing someone in the assembly. Christ Crucified by Velázquez.
The Song of Roland. Roland feeleth his death is near, his brain is oozing by either ear, with his amber. Hang on. This version is significantly different from the regular one. It recounts how men have always belittled women in society. Harpies, mermaids, the chimera, the hydra, the gorgons. Ah, the section on the Medusa. While some of the heroes divert attention from the Gorgon, the hero with the sword brandishes his weapon at the Medusa. Now, Louis, it's time to keep a logical mind, as every good scientist should. The aim is to defeat the Medusa, so what can the lantern be for? To light up the Medusa? Hardly likely. The hero holding the lantern will be easy prey, and the shield will be of no use. To light up the sword? No, that makes no sense. So that leaves the shield. I wonder if the aim is to play with the light. If I turn the shield right, the light would be reflected. The ray of light will perturb the Medusa and focus her attention on the best protected hero. If I respect the legend, I have to place the hero holding the shield in front of the Medusa. Except for here, it doesn't work. There must be something else.
A painting with no name.
Hang on. This version is significantly different from the regular one. It recounts how men have always belittled women in society. Harpies, mermaids, the chimera, the hydra, the gorgons. Ah, the section on the Medusa. While some of the heroes divert attention from the Gorgon, the hero with the sword brandishes his weapon at the Medusa. think. To vanquish the beast, the statues have to be lined up in a specific order. What can this shield be for? To protect its holder? Why not? But in that case, what's the lantern for? Step back and take a second, Louis. Be logical, but open-minded. Think outside the box. Nobody said a statue has to have only one use. I wonder if the lantern was to distract the Medusa. This shield can both protect the holder and also reflect the light from the lantern to distract the beast. In other words, I'll have to make an angle of 90 degrees between the lantern and the Medusa by turning this shield to face the sword. If Mortimer's the one who thought of all this stuff, then honestly, he must have a screw loose. Crazy idea, but worth a shot. Whoa.
Rah! For Pete's sake, Emily! You scared the pants off me. Don't ever do that again.
Well, keep your nose out of my business then.
I don't know what you're talking about.
First my room, now here. Stop following me, you're becoming a nuisance.
Wait a minute. You're not implying that I'm here to court you, are you?
Oh, Louis, I'm just stating the obvious. You wouldn't be the first, rest assured.
Yeah, this is embarrassing. The worst thing is that it seems to be working.
Stop fooling around and tell me what you're doing here.
I was feeling a bit peckish. I went in search of the kitchen and I ended up here.
Your sense of direction is mind-boggling, isn't it? Well, no matter. I'll tolerate your presence this one time. Now, since you're here, make yourself useful. Look around on your side. I'll do the same on mine. And if you find anything of interest, let me know.
Oh yeah, in your dreams. At your service, madam.
A golden fleece.
It's freezing. Hurry up.
Do you think that can really be Jason's golden fleece?
No, you are aware that Jason and the Argonauts is a myth, aren't you?
But Mortimer's been protecting this hide. It must be of great value, don't you think?
Certainly of historical value. This kind of hide is still used by gold diggers in Eastern Europe. Now you see how easy it is to obtain a legend.
Why do you have to act so nonchalant every time I show you something?
Louis, anyone can kill a sheep, rip off its hide, and say it's the Golden Fleece.
We're at Lord Mortimer's, not at some farmyard fair. You're just too skeptical.
And you have a tendency to believe anything. Talk about an unlikely pair.
Yet, you know opposites attract, don't you? An unofficial gospel? You'd be more likely to find this kind of book at the Vatican.
Nothing special. The library at Buckingham has 3.
Gee, is there anything England doesn't have yet? Wait, yes, there is. The United States.
Well, not yet. Besides, as far as I know, they don't speak French in the United States.
A Bazant. Guess what I found?
The Holy Grail.
Older than that.
A piece of Noah's Ark.
Not that old.
This could go on for hours. Just tell me.
Caesar's laurel wreath.
Stop! Don't put your grubby fat fingers on it.
You find my fingers fat?
At least put on some gloves.
Please note, my fingers are slim.
You were going to leave marks. My God, what an amateur.
Many a harpsichord players would love to have sexy fingers like mine.
Tell me where you took your infiltration classes so I can have your tutor executed.
Let's compare hands then. We'll soon see whose fingers are fattest.
No, I'm not going to compare hands with you. Let's just keep going.
Bad loser. You should see this sword, Emily. It's magnificent.
I'm busy. Describe it to me.
I think this is Excalibur, King Arthur's sword. I've always dreamt of drawing it from the stone.
How sweet. You're still clinging to your boyhood dreams. When you finished playing, maybe you can help me search the place? Here's something interesting. A manor in Maine, hundreds of acres of land in Catalonia, properties in Shanghai. Incredible. Some of these deeds are over 600 years old, and all signed by the hand of Mortimer.
I wonder if that's what inspired my mother's attention. How come all these documents have Mortimer's signature on them?
Do you think all these properties really belong to him?
See those fine scratches around the words?
Yes, and?
The ink barely spreads on the paper. It spreads exactly the same way on the signature. The deed was written using the same ink. If it is a fake, then it's a professional job. These documents must be fakes. No man can own that many original works, no matter how rich he is.
Be careful. The Order has tried many times to estimate his personal wealth without ever succeeding.
And look here. Castles in Scotland, vineyards in Italy, districts in Venice. He's richer than some European countries.
These documents are intriguing, but do you really think that's what attracted your mother's attention here?
And how do you know my mother was interested in this room?
I didn't know, I just supposed she was. And you just confirmed it. So, do you think she found what she came for?
I don't know. She was obsessed with Mortimer, and I must confess these property deeds are troubling.
If that's the case, why would she have left them?
Once again, I don't know. We'll have to ask her when we find her. And what's your take? How did Lord Mortimer get all this? It's just crazy.
Secret connections, money, or a well-kept family treasure passed on from generation to generation. Who knows?
That would mean some of Mortimer's ancestors lived before Jesus was born. I wonder why my mother didn't make it clear what she was interested in here.
She didn't have time to write it down, or maybe she wasn't sure of what she was looking for.
Or she wanted to protect her discoveries. It's disturbing.
You'll just have to search the rest of the room. Maybe you'll find something. What is that you found?
A cameo pendant. What's going on?
Nothing.
For crying out loud, Emily, you lunged for that jewel like your life depended on it. Tell me what this is about.
No. I can't trust a man who sneaks into my room in the middle of the night.
Are you really gonna use that against me every time we meet?
It's difficult to pretend nothing happened. We just met, Louis. I like you, but I can't just suddenly open myself up like a book to you.
Listen, Emily. It seems pretty obvious to me that you haven't come here for the sole purpose of sampling Mortimer's cellar. Stop all the clever evasions and just trust me.
And why the hell should I place my trust in you, Louis?
You trusted me last night. My being in your room was a bit odd, I'll give you that. And you might have taken me for a thief, or worse. But I managed to explain myself, right? Look at us. I wonder what Mortimer would think if he found us here. Let's trust each other, Emily. We are partners in crime now.
That I grant you. I'll admit you are fairly reliable.
That's it? I was expecting more.
Well, I'm prepared to trust you when it comes to choosing a French cheese, but I've nothing to gain by confiding in you any further than that.
Nothing to gain? Damn it, Emily! I'm only trying to help you. Stop needing to gain something all the time.
Because you think I need help?
Just like everyone. You have your strengths and your weaknesses. And there's no use pretending otherwise.
Ha! And I bet you found out where I'm weak, haven't you?
You think your scathing wit protects you, but in fact, it makes you blind. No sooner have people introduced themselves than you already see them in a bad light. You play the part of a strong woman, and yes, you are a strong woman, of course, but what I see is a sensitive young lady who lacks self-confidence. Stop adopting a defensive posture, and you'll see just how quickly new doors will open.
There is some truth to what you say. I might have some weaknesses, but I don't need your help to overcome them. And I'm simply not contemplating collaborating with anyone at this time. Do you understand?
Oh, it's crystal clear. You don't like people telling you what to do, and you do like giving the orders to everyone.
If I were the matron you speak of, I would have found an underling to search this place, and I would be sound asleep in my bed. I already have a work partner. I know my weaknesses. I don't doubt that your abilities will be of use to me, but I already have all that, thanks to my teammate.
Is there any chance you might tell me who he is?
No, I've already said too much. Consider yourself lucky I've even given you this much. It's extremely rare, believe me.
Come on, don't stop now that you've come this far. You know that eventually I'll end up making you talk.
Well, since no one can resist you, let's see if you can guess who my partner is.
You're a gambler. So, your partner is... It's as obvious as it is surprising. You're my mother's hard-hitting partner.
Oh, God, do you really believe the nonsense that comes out of your mouth?
Well, a second ago I did. A little.
Sorry, Louis, your mother is not my partner.
Chances are, you're working with a member of the Order.
The only members of the Order other than ourselves are your mother and Mr. Washington. The former has sadly gone missing. As for the latter, I knew nothing of his arrival. Incidentally, you must have noticed how inefficiently our Order communicates internationally.
Your husband, of course.
My husband? He can't even walk without a cane. Poor old man. Let him live out the rest of his days in peace.
How nice for him.
Right, time is short. You haven't convinced me. I prefer to remain discreet. Don't take it the wrong way. All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister. And if I reacted so strongly at the sight of the cameo pendant, it's because I thought it belonged to her. But it doesn't.
I understand. I won't insist.
It's time to leave.
So, what do you think of our first adventure?
I must admit, it has been fun by your side.
Same here.
Oh, she's been drinking too much again.
Louis, I need to talk to you right now.
Good evening, Elizabeth. Actually, this is not a good time.
I'm begging you, please don't leave me alone.
I'll be waiting for you in your room, but don't be late.
I was sure there was a certain je ne sais quoi between us.
Louis, we need to talk now. Otherwise, it'll be too late.
Looks like Elizabeth really needs me, but if I start talking to her, for sure Emily won't wait for me. What should I do?
Excuse me, Elizabeth, but some very urgent business has cropped up. We could speak tomorrow.
No, Louis, don't leave me alone. They've come back.
Good night, madam.
Well, well, Louis, you took your sweet time. What did our poor Elizabeth want?
She probably wanted to chat more about my mother.
Really? So Miss Adams is somehow linked to your mother?
In a way, I guess she is. But I thought all of that could wait until tomorrow.
That young girl seems very...
Emily? Have I misunderstood something here? What are you doing in my room?
And for a while now, the question has been nagging at me.
And that explains why I now find you here in my bed. Go ahead. Ask me the question that's been burning at your lips.
I know your mother was here to meet someone, but I can't figure out who.
Oh, so that's what's been hiding behind all this.
We are both members of the Order, Louis. Let's try to be honest with each other. I have followed with great interest your affair in Paris, in connection with Mr. von Borchardt. You managed to steal something from him, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you talking about the Book of All Mysteries? Al-Azif?
That's right, Louis. A valuable bit of plunder, isn't it?
Yeah. When we finally found it, we took it.
And where is the book right now?
Amazingly, it's right here. Mother took it with her when she came.
This is quite fascinating. But just what did Sarah expect to accomplish here?
My mother came here to find out who von Burchard planned on selling the book to.
And did she find out?
I have no idea, but I think she thought it would be someone invited to Mortimer's next party.
You mean one of us here now?
That's what I think. It wouldn't be you, by any chance.
Unfortunately, no. I was planning to steal it myself. Thank you for all this information, Louis. Right, enough chatting. Come and join me instead. I have to go, Louis. I don't want anyone finding me here in the morning.
You're right. Well, have a good night.
Good night. See you tomorrow, rested and ready.
Sure thing. Mortimer?
Monsieur de Richet, at last we meet.
How many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible.
Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet.
I do apologize for being late. I was obliged to clear up some urgent business. At last we meet, Monsieur de Richet. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly, Louis. I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. However, there may be some new developments, but I don't know if they are linked to your mother. We have found Elizabeth Adams' body in her room. I'm afraid she was brutally murdered, stabbed several times. Duchess Hillsborough informed us that she accompanied you at the beginning of the evening. You apparently bumped into Miss Adams, who wanted to speak to you. We are told you turned her away, and she went away on her own.
That's correct.
Do you know what she wanted to see you about, by any chance?
Not in the least.
Pity. The poor child was probably trying to find help.
I thought it could wait until tomorrow.
Apparently not. Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed. I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why is that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you could start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was attacked in her room.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, you've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
Which four-letter word could open this chest? Which four-letter word could open this chest? Your Eminence, I imagine that you've heard the news about Miss Adams.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams' room. But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble, Louis. It's probably nothing. One last thing. You must know that Peru hit young Adams on the evening of our arrival. He apparently violently attacked her in the small salon.
Do you know anything else about the attack?
Oh, unfortunately not. I arrived too late to intervene. Young Miss Adams had already been submitted to the foul lout's rat. Otherwise, you can believe me, it would not have happened.
What do you want from me, de Richet?
Greetings. It's fallen to me
Cut
that...
the crap! Get to the point. We both know why you're here.
And have you got anything to tell me?
What does it matter? It's too late anyway. Do what you have to do and get out.
It's never too late, sir. If you have something to say, now is the time.
You don't understand. Everything's already written.
Why is he behaving like the perfect culprit? What is it that's already written? I'm not sure I follow you.
No, you don't.
A pattern with 4 circles. Dear Monsieur Peru, I'm writing to thank you for the funds you sent. These funds will be crucial for the renovation of the western wing of the orphanage. The children you sent are doing marvelously well, and little Pierre will soon be walking. Some of them still sometimes suffer nightmares about their parents on the scaffold, but I expect they will cease in due course. Should you decide to send us more, please note that another 20 beds will soon be ready. The children and myself will never thank you enough. Long live the Republic. Long live France. Sister Marie-Hélène. All right. I've retrieved everything.
Dear Monsieur...
All right. I've retrieved everything.
The Massacre of the Innocents, but by Van Harlem. I think that Mortimer likes to play mind games with his guests.
Great. Honey.
Dear friend, please come and join us. We must meet about the ongoing operations in Paris. A boat will be waiting for you in Calais and will take you to Dover in England. From there, a carriage will take you to the port of Tintagel, where a frigate will be waiting for you and other guests, so you can meet up with me on my island as quickly as possible. I await your arrival. Lord William Mortimer.
Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris. It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris, and there's some well-known names on it. This is valuable information. This shouldn't be lying around.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. I'd like to talk about the letter you're writing. What woman is it addressed to?
Who says it's a woman? I'm not saying any more. There's no point you insisting. All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. Let's get right to it. Are you Elizabeth Adams' murderer?
That is for you to prove, if I'm not mistaken, boy. You weren't expecting me to do all the legwork for you, were you? Lazy man.
Goodbye, sir. We shall meet again.
Probably.
Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte. Duchess Emily Hillsborough. Tending children at the orphanage in Harlem. I find it a little hard to understand this painting choice.
Dear E, I received your last letter. Unfortunately, the Crown informed the Golden Order that our mission should under no circumstances hamper Sir Gregory's plans. Decidedly, they have support from the highest level in Buckingham Palace. So here we both are, hands and feet tied, and little room to maneuver. Keep me abreast of events. Our mission is becoming more complicated. Yours, E. T.S. The French chapter of the Order doesn't appear to know anything about the arrival of our friend Sarah. I therefore cannot comment on it. However, my guess is that she has come here for personal reasons.
The Lady's Waldegrave by Reynolds, painted upon the request of the Waldegrave family in an effort to find them a husband. Displayed like meat. It's disgusting. A letter from William Pitt the Younger addressed to Emily. He's the present Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Emily has indeed some powerful backers. Madam, thank you for consoling the Queen. The King's situation is worsening, but I wager he'll recover from this present fit. Next time you speak with Her Majesty the Queen, would you please be so kind as to ask her to look into my petition to raise taxes with the King? I will personally see to it that our nation will recover from this impasse. But King George's mental situation is slowing down our decision-taking. Thank you in advance for all your help. William Pitt, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. from William Pitt the Elder, addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. This letter dates from 15 years ago now. Madam, I shall never thank you enough for all your care and attention. I shall be indebted to you till my last breath. If you have any request of me, you only need ask. With regards to my son William, I shall never thank you enough. A letter from William Pitt the Elder, addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. This letter dates from 15 years ago now. Madam, I shall never thank you enough for all your care and attention. I shall be indebted to you until my last breath. If you have any request of me, you only... A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguised traits. A letter from William Pitt the Elder, addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. This letter dates from 15 years ago now. Madam.
What can I do for you, Louis?
I've come to see you about last night's tragedy. Did you hear anything about what happened to Elizabeth?
Yes, we all did. Rumors spread quickly, you know. How awful. I didn't know her well, but I hope at least the poor thing didn't suffer too much.
Elizabeth was stabbed 9 times. No doubt she suffered greatly.
9 times? What monster is capable of such a horrible thing? Do you know what happened exactly?
In fact, Lord Mortimer has asked me to look into this case, Emily.
Really? Are you Lord Mortimer's snoop now?
I'm doing it for Elizabeth, not to please Mortimer.
Good for you. Quite right, too. Have you found out anything?
I won't keep you, Emily. Thank you for answering my questions.
See you, Louis.
Duke Manuel Godoy. Huh, that's me. Monseigneur His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. President George Washington. Clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. That would clear Emily de facto because she was still with me at the time. A Chinese coin. A notebook written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. Not too easy to work out. August 24th, 1792. Elizabeth, I'm driven to despair and doubt there is any point in writing to you. I'm not even sure you'll receive my letters. Father controls my correspondence more and more. I am certain he filters our exchanges. Thankfully, one of the chambermaids is able to help me get my letters to you, but they still remain unanswered. I often think about you and pray every day to be able to hold you tight. We have so much time to make up. I beg you, answer me, please. Your loving sister, Abigail. Piece of fabric, high quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear. It's a travel dress. The silk has been lightly waxed to protect it from bad weather. And I know the very woman who came up with the idea, given all the traveling she does. My mother. God help us. Why did she come here in the first place? The material appears to have undergone abnormal wear and tear. She must have been scouring the countryside, and that doesn't look good. Piece of fabric. High quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear. A notebook, written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. Not too easy to work out. Pentagram. What the hell's been going on here? Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual? Vials of laudanum. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved. The blade is short and thin, well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh. The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand. Poor girl bled to death. Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe? A chest with a half-circle pattern. Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. More tattoos, similar to those on the rest of her body. I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. On first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. It looks as though the wounds were inflicted from a precise angle, as if the murderer was standing behind Elizabeth. Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. If the scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body. No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. No marks or bruising around the wrists. Doesn't look like she was tied up or held by force. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars. People who scar themselves in this way generally do so to relieve some kind of psychological suffering. By trying to master the pain, they establish their self-control. Scarring, ugh. Scarring isn't very regular, but they're mostly from old cuts. I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations. She bled from the nose. There are signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. What a strange smell. Laudanum. Certain courtiers use it to get drunk. If taken in large quantities, it can provoke fits of madness. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars. My dear Elizabeth, I'm writing to inform you of some unfortunate news. We won't be able to meet as planned on the first Sunday of May. I've been told that you're no better, and, unfortunately, your brothers and I are absolutely snowed under by the work required to govern this new country. November 1791. A chest with a half-circle pattern. Vials of laudanum. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved. Pistol? Fairly new, I'd say. And judging by the weight of it, fairly light. There's a few dried traces of blood on the grip. Difficult to know for sure how they got there. It's extremely well maintained. The barrel is perfectly clean. It isn't loaded, and there's no traces of gunshot residue. I'd conclude that it hasn't been used recently. A tribute engraved on the barrel to the liberators of France. Right. I shall have to find its owner.
Has Sir finished with this room?
Do you know who could have made such a mess of this room?
Miss Adams, sir. We were given orders to leave the room as it was, so as not to rush her.
Did she have a fight with someone to get the room into this state?
Not that I know of, sir. Miss Adams would sometimes throw a tantrum, during which she would destroy anything that came to hand. Lord Mortimer told us not to enter the room.
Thanks for that information.
You are welcome, sir. Has Sir finished with this room?
I know enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door.
Monsieur Johann van Volner. Monsieur Jacques Perru? Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte. Duchess Emily Hillsborough. Duke Manuel Godoy. Huh, that's me. Monseigneur His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. President George Washington. A map of Vermont. It looks like a note between Emily and Washington about trade deals.
My dear George, I'd like to invite you to join me as planned at my place. I have a project to show you. It is time that the United States played a more important role on the world stage. I understand your reluctance of playing with fire. I know your new country is very young, but rest assured that I would do nothing to jeopardize what we have built together. I look forward to seeing you soon. Your friend, William.
Portrait of George Washington. Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost.
My dear George,
greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, you can guess why I'm here.
Of course.
Lord Mortimer has sent me to ask you a few questions about last night.
It's... How am I going to tell Elizabeth's father that she's dead?
I know, Mr. President. I shall endeavor to find out the truth about this tragedy. I must ask you to help me, though. Please.
Find the degenerate pig who did this, Louis.
Are
you all right, Mr. President? Are you feeling all right?
Oh, don't worry. It's this rotten toothache. What do you expect? I'm no spring chicken now.
Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered. Were you aware that Elizabeth took laudanum?
Yes, she came to ask me for some. She had finished her reserve, I believe.
Did she tell you why she was so desperate to get some, Mr. President?
She said she had terrible migraines that wouldn't go away.
More likely for the voices she heard, not the migraines. Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered. Mr. President, we found a footprint at the scene of the crime.
Not a dress shoe, I hope. That's all I wear.
No, rest assured. It looks like the print of a big ankle boot. A large size, I'd say.
Perfect. That should help you, Louis. It's a clue. Greetings, Louis.
Do you know why she came to the island?
To get help, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
Indeed. Sir Gregory suggested to her father that he introduce her to Lord Mortimer to see if he could help her.
Yes, Lord Mortimer has a talent for healing, apparently. I'm not surprised Sir Gregory advised her to come.
Agreed. Do you know if she had any enemies, Mr. President?
Not that I know of. I heard about her altercation with Mr. Perry, but that case was closed, if I'm not mistaken. But if in doubt, I wouldn't leave any door unopened. And I'd go and question your fellow countrymen.
Don't worry. Countryman or not, I'm not letting anybody slip through the cracks. I shan't keep you any longer, Mr. President.
Feel free, Louis. If there's anything I can do, just ask.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good day, Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Volner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
No, nothing special.
Lord Mortimer must have informed you of the necessity for everyone to remain in their rooms until further notice.
Certainly, but I'm a guest, not a prisoner. I was looking for a servant, since we don't all, unfortunately, have one at our disposal.
Yeah, right.
I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.